is honestly might be the dumbest thing I've ever done, but $10,000. $10,000. 10 grand. 10,000. 1000. Hey y'all, welcome to my little funny, silly, little goofy channel. And I decided I have been screwed over too many times by too many people. And in honor of it being a new year and a new me, I'm going to literally just air it out at this point. I don't care. I let people walk over me too much. I'm letting people step on me and smother me into the gravel and literally grab my head and as hard as they can. And then I sit there and I go, anything else I could do for you? Are you sure you don't want to pluck my eyelashes out one by one while you're at it? And I probably would rather have that happen than this, because this was instead direct torture. Like, this was torture. Just wait till y'all hear this. I'm never talking to a man named Alex again after this, ever. Alex, if you're watching this, babe, and we're using government names today, babe. Okay, so basically this was the worst experience I've had in a really long time. This was actual psychological torture. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Psychological warfare was used on me with this man. Like, this is not a human. This is a freaking robot here to destroy women. So I'm here to save y'all. If you ever meet this Alex guy, you will know his name's Alex. And if any of this adds up, run, babe, run. I kind of miss him. Alex, is watching this, please text me. No. So this all happened over the summer. And a little backstory. I was dating a guy for 3 years before this. Like, I was in a 3-year long relationship. Like, I don't know what single is. I don't know what that means. So I'm a little bit easy to manipulate, if you will, because I'm fresh out of a relationship. So let this be a lesson of something. Midsummer, I'm fresh out of a relationship and I'm scratching for a man. I'm scratching for it. I'm like, there was my boyfriend. I wanted a boyfriend, even though I didn't want a boyfriend, but I wanted a man to give me attention, because who doesn't, honestly? And if you say you don't, you know you sometimes just want them. You sit there at night sometimes and you're like, dang, I wish I had a big buff man right here kissing my neck. And don't lie. Don't lie. So I go to Target one day and I see this man. And I wish I could lie and sit here and say that this man was like butt ugly and I was like delusional, but no, this man was 6'5", the most beautiful hair you've ever seen, the most amazing face, like buff. He was so buff. He looked like he could pick me up with his pinky and just spin me around in circles, flick me across the entire world, and then I'd land right back on his pinky standing there. I'm talking like Michelin star man. Like, if you were to put him on Yelp, it'd be 5 stars. So I was like, I'm gonna go up to him and like ask for his number, like, like, let's get his number. So I don't do that because I was too scared. But I ended up walking to my car. This was my game. I wait in my car till he walks out of the Target, and he walks on by, gets in his car, and I follow him. I follow this man home. Okay, I did not follow him home. Stop calling the cops. I swear that's not what happened. So I end up pulling up next to a red light with him, and I'm, babe, like yelling out of my window. He rolls down his window and I'm like, I flash and I give him my number, right? He takes down my number. We speed off in different directions, and I'm like literally freaking out because he was so hot. Literally 2 seconds later, I get a text from him being like, nice car. I start texting. I'm like, oh, thanks, like, you too, because he was driving a decent car. It was a decent car. And so then he starts immediately flirting, and he's like, not a lot of girls can make me take my eyes off the road. And I'm like, that had me set in stone. Like, I'm literally like in love at this point. I'm like, you're already flirting with me. And I just had me heart palpitations. So I end up on Snapchat. We start snapping, okay? Not even 5 hours after seeing this man on the side of a Target, he texts me. He's like, you want to hang out tomorrow? Babe, like, yes, babe. Like, we're hanging out tomorrow. Like, what do you mean? So we're like texting. He's being so nice. He's asking like what music I like to listen to, like what my hobbies are, like trying to plan out a literal date. Like, what, like, there's something happening in my pants. There's something happening in my pants. Next day at like 2 p.m. sharp, he texts me, I'm here. I got so ready. I looked so good. So I go out of the lobby of my apartment complex, and I'm literally gonna cry. Like, I miss this. He's standing in front of his car, and he gets out of his car, opens up the passenger side door, and goes, after you. This isn't The Notebook, babe. This isn't reality TV and you're doing these things in real life. I've never had a man in my life open a door for me. To this day, he was the only man in my life to open a car door for me. Stunning, love, stunning. I get in the car, I'm shaking, I'm like so scared, and I'm like, ugh. And he's not a serial killer. Like, he's so nice, and he's so nice. And the first thing he asks is like, this is gonna sound so sad. The first thing he asked me is like, tell me about yourself. Like, I'm like, and he asked what my name was. And so I was telling him my life, yada yada, and he was just so nice, so nice. And I was like, what do you do? You know what he said? Stock investor. I know a stock you can invest in. So we're driving around for a little bit. Everything's fine, everything's so good. And I'm like, where are you taking me? Because, you know, I'm in the car with a stranger, like, and we're kind of just driving around at this point. I'm like, where are we going? It should have been a red flag. Like, when he said this, I should have immediately been like, bye, babe. Like, you're crazy. Like, oh, we're gonna go to the gym. Like, do you want to work out with me? Let's go. Like, take me to a Texas steakhouse. Take me to a freaking Golden Corral for all I care. A 5-pound weight and my wrist is snapping in half. Like, the last time I went to the gym was me running to my mailroom to grab packages. Like, I don't work out. Like, I don't want. So we get to his gym. Homie just starts right over to the weights and is. So, like, I do it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is just not the vibe. So I like go over and I'm literally watching him for 30 minutes just work out. Like following him around the gym. He's like hitting shit, like earbuds in, like not even really paying attention to me. And I'm like, okay, by the way, this isn't bad. Like, this is good compared to where it goes. Like, this is him good air. I end up going back to my apartment. We make food together. And we're like eating the food that we made. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is gonna be us in 50 years. Sitting here looking at each other being like, do you remember like 50 years ago when I took you to the gym and like, now you're buff as hell, Kayla. Like now you're buff and you have a big butt, and like thinking about our future. Sitting there eating our little soup or whatever we made, just watching Rick and Morty, probably. We didn't even, all we did was make out. And let me tell y'all, he has the lips of a god. He has the lips of a freaking soldier in the field. Like, when I kissed him, I saw my future. I saw my kids growing up. I saw my kids having kids having kids. I saw my great grandkids running around in the field when I kissed him. Okay, like, that was a good, like, my life flashed before my eyes when I kissed him. The next day, he's like, let's hang out again. 2 days in a row, we're going fast, all right? So he had mentioned to me how his room was like literally a dungeon. And so I'm imagining that he has like this like tiny little bedroom, dirty, messy, clothes everywhere, like super, like just a normal teenage boy bedroom, right? Like, that's what I'm imagining. So the next day he's like, do you want to go over to my house? And I'm like, sure, I guess. But I'm like confused because like I have a whole apartment. Why do we want to go hang out in your dungeon of a bedroom? So I end up driving 45 minutes to this guy's house. I'm shaking the whole time, okay? It's like in the middle of nowhere. Like, I'm driving to the woods at this point, and I'm like, if he wants, like, he would, if he were to end me, I would be a little, it would probably be hot when he was doing it. Yeah, babe. Yeah, babe. Yeah, babe. I love you, Kayla. All of a sudden, I pull up to these gates, like the gates to, you would think, like gates that if you jump over, you're falling to your death. Like, tall ass gates. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I'm like calling him, like, how the hell do I get in? All of a sudden they open up like the Great Gatsby, like Moses splitting the Red Ocean. The gates open. So I'm driving up this like insanely long driveway. Like, the driveway might as well been the drive to his house. Like 45 minutes up this windy road. And at the time, I literally cannot make this shit up. Like, I would show you videos, but like, I'm all out for saying his name and all of this, but I'm not gonna show this man's address. I pull up to a $65 million mansion. I looked it up on Zillow. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. The minute I left that house that day, I looked it up on Zillow. $65 million mansion. $65 million mansion. There are about 7 Ferraris just lined up on the driveway. There's a balcony and there's an effing maid sitting there cleaning it, and she goes, hold on. So I'm like calling him and I'm like, hey, I think like you gave me the wrong address. Like, where am I? And all of a sudden, like, his double doors open up to his house, and it's him just standing there looking like Ice Spice in the deli. Like, and he's like, come on in. And I'm like sitting there like, it was giving Saltburn Castle. So I'm like looking around just and he looks at me, he goes, oh, I'm sorry, like maybe I shouldn't have brought you over here so soon. Like, I don't want to overwhelm you. Like, is saying sorry for how rich he is. Like, he's apologizing to me because he's so rich. Like, Just give me some of it and I'll be okay. Later, I found out this man's like made millions from stocks. Like, wasn't just like a stockbroker, like Wolf of Wall Street, like Ronald Reagan. Wait, no. Johnny Duxbury. Like, John, oh my God, the guy from Wolf of Wall Street, the good actor, Leonardo DiCaprio type. We walk outside and he opens up his garage and there's more Ferraris in the garage. And he's like, which one do you want to take? What? You choose what car you want to drive? Like, what? So I end up like choosing this like navy blue Ferrari. I'm like, that one, I want to go in that Ferrari. Drive to effing Chick-fil-A in a $250,000 blue Ferrari. He's holding my hand the whole time, like so sweet, so nice, whatever. Listen, blah, 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 blah. Like, money doesn't mean everything, and money doesn't... You wouldn't fall in love if you got to decide what Ferrari you wanted to take to Chick-fil-A. You wouldn't fall in love if you could get bored and just play the harp in the living room. You wouldn't fall in love if he's rich. I'm gonna be brutally honest here, I will. And he was hot and he was nice. You're gonna fall in love. I don't care, like I don't care, you're gonna fall in love. I drive back home later that night. And then we ended up hanging out for like the next 3 days. I met all of this man's friends. And here's the thing, you can always judge a man by who he hangs out with, okay? If you're hanging out with a guy who's nice and then his friends are douchebags, I promise you he's a douchebag. This guy's friends were like so nice. Like, I'm talking like would get on the floor and spit on my shoes and scrub it clean if I had a scuff on it. So we hang out for like 2 weeks straight. I'm always at the $68 million mansion to the point where I came back home to my apartment. I would cry. Like, I would cry. He ends up having to go on this like work business trip. The 2 weeks that he was gone, we FaceTimed every single day. So at this point, we have been talking for a month. Hung out for 2 weeks, 2 weeks on FaceTime. Like, everything's so fine. We're still in love. Okay, maybe he wasn't in love, but I was in love. And like, when we'd hang out, he would never be on his phone either. Like, I don't even think he brought his phone with him half the time. Like, it was just completely like us. Like peas in a pod. So let's get to where things get effing juicy. I'm telling you, he's like, hey, like, I don't want to upset you, but like, I have to go to college. Like, but he told me that he had to like finish out college. I literally don't know, but he had to like finish out college for some degree. He was rich, hot, and funny, and nice, and sexy. So I didn't care. And so I'm like, oh my God, so cute. Like, I'll come visit you at college, like, where at? And he's like, oh, it's in Massachusetts. I was broken. My heart was shattered. Like, you're going away. Like, I'll go with you. Like, I've always wanted to go to Massachusetts. Like, this actually, my dream vacation. I actually have a property out there. I was looking at houses out there last week, babe. Like, I love Massachusetts. Like, what do you mean? So he's telling me this, and I'm like, I've never been so sad. Like, oh! Instead of taking that as a sign from the universe, like, no, babe, like, when you kissed and saw your future, it wasn't with him. Like, run while you can. I'm thinking, okay, long distance. He ends up going to Massachusetts for this like college, whatever. The first 3 days that he was in college and I was stuck here crying my eyes out, things were fine. We were FaceTiming every day, just like when he went on that little work trip. Days he was in college, it was just like that, FaceTiming every day, like having dinner together on the phone, like, I love you so much, like, good night, babe, like, waking up to paragraphs, like, I love you and I miss you, and like, you're the one for me, and I'm just like so in love with you, like, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to see him. I look up how long of a drive it is in Massachusetts. 20 hours. I love driving. My man's out there. What do you mean? I go without telling him, looking up his college and then looking up what breaks they had in a week. They had this like week break, okay? So I'm like, this is perfect. This is like the sign that we're meant, like, this is my sign that I go see my boyfriend, like my billionaire boy, like, this is my sign. So I go online and I find this insane, like 10 out of 10, like bougie hotel. Like, I'm talking, would have people sit there and like charge your phone for you, like bougie hotel. Go on there and I book like the nicest room you could get, like a suite. I spend like thousands of dollars on it. Booked it. I just booked the damn hotel. Like, I was like, it's fine. Like when we're married, and like, so this is basically an investment. Like, I was thinking of it as like an investment. Like, it sounds, okay, it really sounds like I'm really just caring about the money, but like, he never belittled me. Like, we would be laying in bed and he would look over at me and be like, you're the most gorgeous girl I've ever seen, and compliment things about me that have never been complimented. Like, would sit there, rub my makeup off with his bare hands and be like, you are just so gorgeous. Like, I just love you so. Like, that night I FaceTime him to be like, surprise. I FaceTime him, he doesn't answer. Odd. he's answering like clockwork. Like 7 p.m. he's answering, we're on the phone, you know, it's clockwork. I was like, okay, that's weird, whatever. By the way, I also had his location at this time, and he was at his dorm. So I was like, okay, it's fine. The next day I call him, doesn't answer. And in my little delusional brain, I'm not thinking, oh my God, like he found somebody else. I'm thinking he's phone broke. I think he's sleeping for 30 hours because there's no way that he would ever ignore me. He would never find another girl at college. Like, he would never do that to me. Like, he would just never do that to me. So eventually, like on like the third day, I'm getting stressed at this point. Like I leave in like 4 days at this point, like down to Massachusetts, and he calls me. Not FaceTime call, which was weird. We were on FaceTime, like we always are FaceTime. And he answered it like, what do you want? Me? Who? What do I want? Threw me off. I'm thinking he's tired. And I'm like, oh my God, you're not gonna believe this, but like I actually just got a hotel in Massachusetts and I'm coming down to see you in 4 days. And I'm like saying it like he won the lottery. Like I'm like, yeah, like we're gonna be in love. And he literally responds going like, oh cool, like that's it. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Like why are you acting like this? Why are you acting so cool? So freaking cool all of a sudden. Mr. Cool Guy over here, give him a cool medal because he's so freaking cool. Fast forward, it's the day that I leave for Massachusetts. And we have like not talked. We're barely texting, and I'm like, you know what? Once again, so delusional. I'm like, he just wants to save all the conversations for when we're in person. So that's why he doesn't want to talk to me. Like, he wants to have something to talk about. Like, girl, nah. Get out of the car. Burn your car. Light it on fire. Literally sell your car to Mr. Beast and have him enter it in a giveaway video. And stay home. Get rid of the keys. Like, what are you doing? The day comes. I wake up at 5 in the morning. 5 in the effing morning. And I get on this 20-hour, I don't know how many hours exactly it was, but like this 20-hour car ride to Massachusetts from Florida. In my little car, on the way, completely alone. I have never road tripped alone in my life, and I'm over here road tripping to Massachusetts for this man completely alone. And before I know it, I'm in Massachusetts, and I'm at his dorm, okay? I text him, and I'm like, I'm here, like, come outside, like, I'm here, blah, 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 blah. And mind you, we did not call once on my car right there. Like, just, why did I not see that? So I'm sitting, parked outside of his, Moses splitting the Red Sea again. Like, just the most beautiful thing. I see his big, fine, sexy self opening up the doors and walking towards my car. But there's no smile on his face. Like, he just looks like, he gets in my car, doesn't hug me, doesn't kiss me, is just like, hey, how are you doing? A week ago when we were hanging out, he would get in my car and smother me with his tongue. So what's going on? Do you care to elaborate? So we're in the car and I'm like driving around Massachusetts. He's like kind of showing me like what it's about because he like lives there basically now. And the whole time as we're like in the car, he's sitting there on Snapchat, just like snapping people. Maybe I should be more specific. Snapping girls. Just sitting there snapping girls on his phone, which he has never in his life done in front of me. Like, would never. Like, this man wouldn't even be on his phone in front of me, let alone snapping girls in front of me. And now after I drive 20 hours to see him, we haven't seen each other in 2 weeks, he's over here just snapping away, sending pictures to all these girls. I'm like, what is going on? So we end up going to like this gas station, and I go out to fill out my car with gas, and he's like, oh, like finally like wanting to kiss. We kissed. It's gonna make me cry to think about. It was not a good kiss. Like, I didn't see anything. Like, why were your eyes wide open? Why were they open? Eyes open, like, it was the most disgusting, foul kiss I've ever had in my life. Like, it was just not good. So I'm like, where are the butterflies? Where are the sparks? Where's everything? And it confused the hell. I was heartbroken, shattered. I didn't see the grandkids running around the yard anymore. I wasn't seeing anything besides disappointment, humiliation. So after I fill up gas and we have that, like, horrific, like, kiss, I'm like, oh, like, do you want to go back to my hotel? Like, I bought it. I cannot believe this is where it gets bad. Like, this is where it gets so bad to where it's like jail, like go to jail. Like either me or him, like somebody has to go to jail. Like somebody needs to get locked up. Somebody needs to get incarcerated. Somebody needs to literally like get a lobotomy because like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? So I look at him and I'm like, oh, do you want to go back to the hotel? Like yada, yada. And he's like, I'm not really like in the vibe to stay at a hotel. So I'm like, oh my God, like I don't mean to like spoil the surprise, but like it's a really nice hotel. And he looks at me, he goes, yeah, no, like I don't want to go. Like I'm not going. Like if you want to sleep with me, you could sleep in my dorm, but like I'm not going into any hotel. So like my dumb delusional self is like, oh my God, it's because he's like gonna get homesick from his dorm. Like, he's scared to leave his dorm. So I look at him and I'm like, oh, like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I guess we could stay in your dorm. Like, do you have a roommate? Like, how big is your dorm? And he's like, oh, like, I'll show you. Like, we can go to my dorm right now. I'm like, okay, cool. Go to the dorm. It's, I kid you not, the size of my bathroom. Like, square box. There's his bed, his roommate's bed, and nothing else. Like, there's not even room for a closet. It's, like, so small. It's messy. It's so messy. It's just, it's, like, it's the definition of what I thought his room was gonna look like dungeon vibe. Babe, we have a suite down the road. Like, we have a masseuse in our room. Like, somebody waiting to oil us up and play spa music, and we're doing this. But I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like, we still have 6 more days that we could spend in the hotel. Like, it's fine. Like, one day is fine. Like, it won't kill us. In his dorm, and I'm just like, what is going on? And he's like, oh, by the way, like, there's a party tonight. Like, I'm going. Do you want to go? First off, no, don't ask like that. Why are you asking? Do you want to go? I drove down here to see you. Yes, I'm going to go. So I'm like, okay, Slay. I start doing my makeup. He's like, no, we don't have time for that. Like, you have to go. We have to go. We have to go now. So I end up going to, like, this party at a college with, like, makeup that I did 20 hours ago when I left Florida. Like, most disgusting makeup. My hair's frizzy. Like, I just wanted to straighten my hair, and he was, like, rushing me, which, like, is such a red flag. Like, why are you not letting me get ready for a party? Like, where I'm gonna meet all of your friends and, like, be at the, like, just, like, almost like he wanted me to look ugly. Like, almost like he wanted me to look ugly. Just, like, so we end up walking to this party, and, like, he's not talking to me. He's just sitting there on his phone, snapping girls, and at this point, I'm starting to be heartbroken. I'm starting to be like, what's going on? Why did I drive here? Having hyper hallucinations. So we get to this party, and he, like, is holding my hand in the party, like, dragging me around, like, getting me drinks. He's being, like, nice again, bare minimum again, but because he's been so rude, I'm like, this is amazing. Like, my Alex is back. Like, Alex is in love with me. Like, I see the grandkids in my head again. I'm like, this is everything I've ever wanted. And all of a sudden, this girl comes up to me, and Alex, and, like, looks at me and goes, oh my God, like, are you that girl on TikTok? Like, she knew me from TikTok. And one thing about me, I love meeting y'all. It makes my day, makes my year. Like, I will literally, like, drop everything, and I'll sit there and I'll talk to you for, like, 5 hours. I FaceTime people that I meet. Like, I love y'all so much. Like, so funny. And so, like, sitting there talking to her for, like, 10, 15 minutes. Like, amazing. Like, such a cool girl. I'm, like, telling her why I'm all of a sudden in Massachusetts. Like, why I'm at a random college party. And it's just great vibes. Great. I turn back around, and I'm, like, at the little area, like, getting another thing to drink, because I drank it all. And I turn back around, and I see Alex and the girl that just recognized me talking. So I walk over there, and I'm, like, as I'm getting closer, I'm hearing what's going on in the conversation. And I hear Alex say loud and clear, yeah, well, while I'm at it, what's your Snapchat? You're pretty cute. Burned into my head like cast iron. What did I just hear? Hands her his phone. She puts it in and then walks away. So I walk up to him, and he's like, before I could even say a word about what had just happened, like what I just heard, he, like, grabs his hat off of his head, puts it on my head, smothers it down on my face, and is like, I honestly cannot rock with people coming up to you and knowing you. Keep this on, like, keep it discreet. Buddy, I just got you a girl, apparently. Apparently, I just got you some game. Apparently, I'm over here bringing in the big girls for you so that you can go ham on them, apparently. So once I leave, you could go, oh, but he didn't even wait till I left is the thing. It gets really bad. But at that point, I don't even say anything. I'm like, whatever. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I just, you know, it's my job. You know, I don't really think I talked to you about it before, but, like, I do social media and, like, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, yeah, well, I just can't rock with that. So, like, just don't take the hat off. And I was like, okay. And I just sat there like a delusional, stupid girl. And I'm just like, I didn't say anything. I acted like it was normal. Like, get yourself together. Like, what are you doing? Like, you idiot. You should have hopped in the car. What I should have done is found his best friend and went to town. I should have found his best friend's brother, went to town. I should have went around that whole map and just got them all, like Pokemon. And then I look at him in the face and I say, and I did all of them. So after that, we go back to his dorm, and unfortunately, ding, 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 we do the deed. And I'm back in love, and I'm like, you know what? I will forget that happened, because he didn't mean it, because he is just a little boy, and he didn't know any better, and he's just so silly and goofy, and he loves me so much that he did that out of love for me. And he was doing that to be, like, just being delusional, being stupid stupid. So we end up doing that. We fall right asleep. The next morning, I wake up in this like twin-sized dorm bed with his dorm mate like snoring in the bed right next to us. I'm like squished. I'm sweating so hard because there's no AC in these dorms and it's like midsummer. And I like roll over and I'm like, good morning, like wakey wakey. Day 2, like we have 5 more days to go. Aren't you so excited, babe? And like just honestly, why am I an idiot? Like, why am I an idiot? Like, honestly, that's the moral of the story. Like, stop being an idiot. But I can't stop burping. I'm fighting demons right now. And so he rolls over and just like looks at me, rolls back over and immediately goes on Snapchat, snapping girls, like just not paying attention to me, just scrolling on Instagram reels, just like not even saying good morning to me, like completely disregarded everything I'd said. It was just like on his phone. And I'm like, okay, odd. And the vibes were like so bad. Like the vibes were like so bad. So anyways, we end up walking to this party thing, and on the walk to the party, I kid you not, did not speak a word to me. It was like a 30-minute walk. Wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't even look at me. Like I would talk to him and he would just sitting there snapping girls in front of me. At this point, I'm starting to like break down. I'm like, how am I gonna do 5 more days of this? Why are we falling out of love? Like, our grandkids, Alex, do you care about our grandkids? So we end up getting to this party, and lame. It was such a bad, like, it was literally like the worst party I've ever been to in my life. And so we're like all doing whatever, like it's okay. And he's literally just sitting there hanging out with his friends, and I'm standing there like a freaking puppy dog, like on like a pigeon, like on his shoulder, like where do I go? What do I do? And so I'm like, I have to pee. All of a sudden, I'm like, I have to pee. At this party, there's a lot of random guys. I don't know anybody. He hasn't been at this college for that long, so like he knows people, doesn't know. Like he shouldn't trust anybody enough to like do what he let happen. So I look at him and I go, hey, take me to the bathroom. Like I have to pee really bad. And so I say that, he ignores me because like that's his new like skit, I guess. That's the new him. Just one ear out the other, doesn't know what I'm talking about. Some random guy walking past overhears me and goes, oh, I'll show you where the bathroom is. Like, please come with me. Like, big like, come with me, like drooly eyes, like, come with me, come with daddy, like, obviously wanting to do other things than take me to the bathroom. And Alex had heard that man say that, had seen how weird this guy was. Alex looks at him, looks at me, and should have been like, no, I'll take her, like, come on. Goes, yeah, you can show her. He didn't even know this guy. So I'm sitting there like, the guy grabs my hand, pulling me away. I'm like a child being stripped away from her parents. I'm like, this random man, thank God, didn't do anything. So I leave the bathroom, I go back, and lo and behold, who could have guessed? I go down there, he's over here in a group full of girls, like, not ignoring them, giving them all the attention in the world. He's sitting there like, So I'm standing there and I'm just watching him, like, give his phone to every single one of these girls, like, having them put their snaps in. So I, like, go in the corner and I'm, like, playing, like, 2048, like the game, like trying to look like I'm busy. He walks over to me and he's like, oh, like, let's go. Like, there's a game happening. Like, let's go to the game. I'm like, okay. And at this point, I'm not even trying to make conversation with him. I'm not talking. Like, I'm ignoring him. He's ignoring me, but entertaining all the girls on his phone. And I'm heartbroken. I'm going through the stages of denial and grief at this point. So we get to the game. Okay, we get to the game. And he's like, oh, by the way, like, my 2 friends are going to meet me here. Like, is that okay? And I'm like, fine. Maybe they'll talk to me. Is one of them hot? Is one of them your best friend? And are they hot? And would it hurt you if I did things with them right now? So we sit down, okay? We're sitting there. Game's about to start. Not even really talking. Like, I'm still, once again, being delusional. After 2 hours of not being delusional and not talking to him, I'm back to trying to talk, and he's just not responding. And up walks these 2, like, gorgeous. Like, I really wish I could sit here and be like, I was so much better. No, they were gorgeous. Like, BBL, like, long blonde hair, like, gorgeous girls. Like, they could model. Probably came from a modeling company. Like, Kylie Jenner had a second sister, like, type vibe. And so they come over and he's like, oh my God, like, so nice to see you guys. Like, I missed you guys so much. Like, it's been a minute. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, how have your classes been? Like, flirting. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, he's flirting. Like, I don't care. This was not small talk. Like, he was, if you're gonna do small talk, do it with the girl that drove 20 hours to see you, that you didn't tell to not come. They like come over and he's like, Kayla, like, can you like move over a little bit? So I like move closer to him thinking like, oh, like you know. And he's like, doesn't even say, just like, can't even get down to my mouth. I move over. 2 girls sit between me and him. So it's me, the 2 random girls, and then him. So for 2 hours, I'm sitting in between 2 girls and the guy that I drove 20 hours to see, the guy that basically wanted to marry me, would do all these amazing, nice things for me. He's ignoring me and just like talking to these 2 girls, acting like I'm some random bystander. At this point, I'm feeling crazy. I'm like, have these signs been here all along? And honestly, yes, the gym, the first date was a sign. It was your sign, babe. You should have ran, but you stayed. So I'm just sitting there for the entire game, not saying a word to anybody. Like, the girls aren't even talking to me. Like, I'm sitting there completely alone. Like, Alex is out there yapping with these 2 girls. I'm sitting there silent, watching the game, like silently crying, like tears streaming down my face, like mascara everywhere. I don't even know what to do. Like, I literally do not know what to do. And like, this trip was so bad. Like, I barely have any pictures. Like, I have one video that I'll show y'all, but like, I had like no pictures or videos because I was like distressed. And like, I couldn't even go there and text anybody about what was going on because I had no service. 0 effing bars, like nothing. End up leaving early, and I'm like, do you want to go out to dinner? Why? Maybe because, let me explain myself. When you're really desperate, you get delusional. And I was like on edge of delusional. I was more than delusional. I think I was having schizophrenic episodes. So I'm like, do you want to go out for dinner? Like, let's go get some food. Because I was hungry, to be fair. And so he's like, yeah, like, let's go, whatever. So we walk. We're not talking the whole time, as usual. Do you think he's going to talk to me all of a sudden? No. We get to this restaurant. Pretty nice. Pretty good, pretty nice. Sit down, we're not talking. He's just ignoring me on his phone, snapping away. I don't know, this man, I'm surprised he didn't have a portable charger because he's on his phone so damn much. I don't know how it was alive at this point. We order our food, and then all of a sudden, like a freaking bee, his phone's ringing. He picks it up, looks at it, and he's like, hold on, I have to take this. First words he's spoken to me in an hour. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, fine. So I'm sitting there, 5 minutes pass. I'm just waiting for him to come in. I'm like, it's fine. 10 minutes pass. 15 minutes pass. Food comes. I'm eating. 20 minutes pass. Before I know it, like, bill has come out. Like, his food's cold. I've eaten my food. Bill comes out. Waiter's like, how long are you gonna wait, babe? Like, babe, you just got stood up. Like, don't know what to tell you, babe. And so I'm sitting there, like, in denial, and, like, things just start processing. And I'm, like, getting up to pay the bill. And I'm like, he just left me at a random restaurant in Massachusetts. He just got up and left. Like, honestly, if you wanted to go, you literally could have looked me in the face and been like, girl, I want to go. He could have been like, I honestly do not want to be seen eating dinner with you. I don't want to be seen standing next to you. I'm going to go. And I'd be like, okay, fine. Eat my food and in peace. So no, I paid the bill for his food that he didn't eat, that sat there cold, that I got stood up for at a restaurant I didn't want to go to. He chose a restaurant. I didn't even like. So at that point, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. So I end up walking to his dorm because it was like the closest area. And I was like, also all of my stuff was there because I spent the past 2 nights there because he refused to go to the hotel. So I go back to his dorm, let myself in. He's not there. I wonder where he went, guys. Let's put the effing pieces together. He was flirting with girls the entire time. The 2 girls at the game that sat between us. And then his phone rings. How much money do we want to put on the fact that he probably stood me up to go slide it in? Stood me up to go stand in another girl. So I literally just sit in this man's bed in a completely alone dorm. And I'm sitting there just like crying. I'm sitting there bawling my eyes out. And like he has like a little you know the things that like they spin around and you could like put the disc on the cassette and it's like zzz, and it keeps going. And Taylor Swift made a clock out of them. He had a vinyl record thing. So I don't have service. I can't even play music on my phone. So I'm like going through his things. I'm putting them on the like little player and they're just like playing the songs. And I'm like sitting there listening to like Mac DeMarco. Like I'm sitting there crying in a dorm in the middle of Massachusetts while the guy I drove here for is boning another girl, and I'm sitting there crying to Mac DeMarco, like, help me, somebody help. After like laying there for maybe like 15 minutes, 10 minutes, like he wasn't on that long. He walks back in and he like doesn't even like look surprised that I'm sitting there. He like literally ignores me, and he sits, so I'm sitting like this on the bed, right? Like kind of just laying, like whatever, like listening to music, crying. And instead of like sitting next to me, he gets on the other side, like where his feet are in my face, and like just sits there on his phone like this. Imagine the mental distress I had. Imagine, I think that's when my last straw broke, and I was like, I think I need to go to therapy. I think I need to permanently, like, I need a lobotomy. The Men in Black to memory wipe this forever, because this, like, unbelievable. So we end up falling asleep laying like that, like laying completely, like not even touching. We went to bed not saying a word to each other. Like the last word that he spoke to me was, oh, I gotta go get this, or like whatever he said when he answered the phone, like, oh, I gotta go pick this up, when he walked out of the restaurant. Like that was the last thing we said to each other before we went to bed. And the next thing that he says to me is permanently scarred in my brain. I wake up, right? And when I open my eyes, I notice he's already awake, and he's kind of like looking around, like kind of like, And he looks at me and he goes, I think you should leave. Mind you, I had booked a week hotel. The third day I'm there in Massachusetts, he wakes up and tells me to leave. Honestly, thank God, because I wouldn't have left. I would have thought that things were gonna get better because I'm delusional, and I would have just tortured myself more. I would have literally probably had to cover my ears while he was doing somebody in front of me. Tell me when you're done, babe. Tell me when you're done, like type B. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, cool. So I literally like am just so, like at this point I'm like literally drained. I'm drained. So I grab all of my stuff, I drive to my hotel, I get in the shower, and I start bawling my eyes out. But because I'm at the hotel, I finally have Wi-Fi, I have Wi-Fi. And I'm calling everybody on my phone, explaining like the entire story while I can. And I'm like, I have to go home early. Everybody's like, just like freaking out, like, who is this? Like, just like so disgusted, and like, Kayla, like, get out while you can, like, leave, like, you don't deserve. And I'm just like crying, like bawling my eyes out in the shower, like So then I start like packing my things up, packing my items up, and I realized that I left a couple items there. Did I do it on purpose to see him again? That is something that I may go to the grave with. I may have, in this state, been still so delusional that I wanted an excuse to see him again after him kicking me out. He like literally kicking me out of his dorm. I may or may not have left some things there so that I would be forced to see him again and try to make him fall in love with me. So I text him and I'm like, hey, I left like a couple of jewelry items there. Like, do you think I could grab them? Like, you know, like I kind of need it. To my surprise, to my embellishment, he responds, yeah, you could come swing by and grab them. Thank you, like, you're not robbing me, like, thank you, like, you're so nice. So I'm, like, getting delusional again, and I'm like, oh my God, like, he literally wants to see me, like, he literally, like, he wants to see me, like, there's no way he doesn't, like, why would he not steal my things if he didn't want to see me? Like, that just makes no sense. Hamster wheel, all that's going on there is a hamster running around, like, that's literally it, that's all there is going on up there, like, rocks, pebbles, peanuts, little pennies like swishing around my head. Like, what is going on up there? So this is where I get cringe. Can it get worse? It might, because this is so I'm looking back with disgust. I like pull into this like parking lot, and he walks from his dorm to my parking lot, and he gets in my car, and I just like start driving around like I'm kidnapping him. This man gets in my car to like give me my things, and like I just start driving. I start driving around. Like as soon as I put the car, like as soon as he closed the door, I put the car in reverse. And I peel out of the driveway. He's like looking at me like, bitch, what are you doing? Where are we going? Like, what do you mean? And I'm like skirting out, and I'm like driving around, and I'm like, we're driving around, and all of a sudden I just let my whole heart out, and I'm like, honestly, Alex, like, I just really like you, and I cringe. Like, I was manic at this point, and I was like, I have nothing left to lose from him. Like, I'm just gonna go balls deep. So I'm like, confess my love to this man. I'm like, I just really like you, and like, since the day we met, I've been in love with you, and like, I just confessing my feelings to him, crying while I'm driving. He looks at me, he goes, yeah, can you take me back to my dorm, though? Honestly fair response, because why did I kidnap him? So I'm like driving back to his dorm and he's like kind of talking to me and he's like, yeah, no, it's just like I live here now. Like I don't really live in Florida anymore. Like I'm going to college. Like Massachusetts and Florida just isn't gonna work. And he's like explaining it to me, you know, which is the least he could do on his part. And so I'm just sitting there crying, and then delusion keeps kicking in. Like I'm literally fighting for my life. Like I'm trying to grab what I can of him while I can, because all of a sudden I just lost $7,000 and I lost my boyfriend, my husband, my grandpa, and so like pull back to his dorm and I like park my car in the parking lot and I'm like, do you think we could hang out tonight at least for like my last night? Honestly, delusional of me to even want that, but like least he could do for kicking me out is be like, yeah, there was a party, because it was a Saturday night, mind you. It was a Saturday night or like a Sunday night. It was one of those, but he didn't have class for like a whole week. Like I went on a break, so like it was like a Sunday or a Saturday, no matter what day it was, there was going to be a party because I didn't have school for like a week straight. And I'm like, do you think like I could go to a party with you? Like we could find a party like just for my last day. Like I kind of want to live it up. Like I don't go to college. Like I want to live the college. Like trying to like grab, like just grasp what I can. And he looks at me and he's just like, nah. And I'm like, oh, like why? Like shocked that he would say something rude to me all of a sudden. Just shocked that that was his answer. Like, what did you think he would say? Yeah, come with, like be my, like you idiot. And he's like, you could tell he's like thinking of something. He's like, I have to study. And I look at him and I'm like, you don't have school for a week. And that's like the one time I've ever called him out on his BS. The one time. And honestly, thank God. And I was like, you don't have school for a week. Like you're on like break. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, no, but like I have a really big test when I go back to school. Like I have to. Like I literally have to. I look at him, I'm like, okay. Like tears in my eyes. I'm like, okay. And he's like, so yeah, you should probably go home and finish packing. He then opens the car door. Doesn't give me a hug. Obviously doesn't give me a kiss. Instead goes a double tap on the shoulder and walks out. The most disrespectful thing you could do. He should have walked out and spit in my face. The double shoulder tap is the most despicable thing. Like, he should have slapped me across the face, ripped a chunk of my hair, and then smashed my car window and then took off down the road and called the cops on me. Instead, he did worse. I would take anything over the double shoulder tap. Whenever anybody goes, I shiver. I start shaking. I start shaking like a dog, a wet dog. I'm like the double taps, scarred for life. And that was the last time I ever saw Alex. But that's not the last time I talked to him. Oh, you thought that was the end. There's one more thing, and it might be the cherry on top. And I'm talking like it's a novel. And it might have been the cherry on top of the story. Kayla Malik. This is a Wattpad gone wrong. So I go back to my hotel and I'm packing up the rest of my things. I'm crying. I'm like on FaceTime with my friend, just like telling her everything. And I'm like bawling and I'm like, I'll be back in Florida tomorrow. Like I'm going home early. Like I just lost all of my money for the hotel because like they're not gonna refund me. Like I have to check out 4 days early now. And as I'm packing, a little light bulb clicks on and I'm like, I have his location. Like, I kind of want to check his location to see if like he actually is at his dorm studying, like give him some brownie points, if you will. So I find my iPhone and his location's spinning. And then all of a sudden, no location found. I go on our messages. It shows me that 10 minutes ago, 10 minutes before me checking, he had shut off his location. Immediately, why do I still care? But I was so angry. I start spamming him. I'm like, why the hell do you turn off your location? Like, I'm like screaming at this man who literally just double shoulder tapped me. And he texts me being like, not even my mom has my goddamn location and you think you can have it, like freaking out on me, okay? I leave him on red. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the higher ups about this. While I was there, I had met his friends, okay? Some of them at the parties. And I'd gotten their Snapchats. I text this one girl that I knew would have my back. And I text her and I go, do you know if Alex is like doing anything right now? Like, are there any parties? And she's like, oh my God, girl, like there's this huge party going on campus. Like, I'm surprised you're not here. And I'm like, oh, there is. Like, I'm surprised I'm not there too. But like, is Alex there? And she's like, yeah, like I'm with him right now. Like, we're all at a group at this party. Like, Alex is here. So I'm like, you wanna like show me? I'm like, proof, babe. Like, kind of like sneakily being like, oh, like send a pic. Like, how's the party looking? Like, blah, blah, blah. She sends me a video. It was a video of the party. You pause it at like 22 seconds in or something. Not 22 seconds, like 5 seconds in. You hold the video down. You see Alex and the girl next to him at the football game making out, locking lips, no shoulder taps, no double taps, just lips tapping away. Next morning, I woke up and I drove 20 hours back home. And that's why. So yeah, that is how I wasted $10,000 on a hotel. So yeah, he ended up having me come all the way down to Massachusetts, ignored me the entire time, and then ended up meeting a girl while I was with him at a party. Sit between me and him at a football game with her friend. And he left me at dinner to go bang her or hang out with her and told me to go home early, then lied to me about not having a party, and then officially, and also, grand update, 2 weeks after I left, they ended up dating. They're dating to this day. Like, they've been dating for like 4 months. 2 weeks after I left, they started dating. Posted on Instagram, little. If you guys thought that was bad, I have a lot worse. If you guys like the story time, I have a lot more stories. Just crazy, funny, little goofy stories. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys next week with a new story time. I hope you guys like this. I have so many more stories. Love you guys so much. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. I love you.